Hello, welcome back. My name is Hijack, and we have another build here for you. I call it the Doomsassin build. So we are going to be playing as the Assassin, right? And we're going to be using the Assassin's epic weapon, which is Doom-oriented, as the name of the build suggests, right? So the weapons themselves, what's really important is that first of all, the first weapon skill gives you form, which increases crit chance. It also gives you this aura around you, which does damage, which actually can help a little bit. So, and the second skill is really the most important one, though. Okay, this one, when you ambush an enemy, okay, to ambush an enemy, you need to hit a stunned enemy or hit the enemy from behind. So, we have a couple ways of dealing with this. Like hitting an enemy from behind is kind of obvious, but stunning enemies, that doesn't work on Lords of the Void. So if you wanna have this ambush effect on Lords of the Void, you either have to hit them from behind, or you have to have there's one skill that can help us out here, which we'll talk about. Now, what's cool about this skill is when you ambush, you cause all stacks of Doom to deal a percentage of the damage instantly and remove the effect in the process. So when we trigger this, right, we're going to do a damage based upon the amount of Doom we have on enemies, and you're going to see it can do quite a lot. The artifact here is just applies Doom and an aura around you, and you can also walk through enemies, which is actually quite useful, right? So that's the weapon we're going to be using. Now, this, on top of being a Doom build, okay, this is going to be a crit build, so I do have 3 skills here for crit. I think instead of taking this synchrony, which you could definitely take, but it's going to be better just to take Lord's Bane, right? 25% damage extra, just stacked on top for when Lords of the Void are active. Very good. The other 3 things here are very just crit oriented runes. So one gives you critical chance. One gives you extra critical damage based on critical chance, and this also applies to certain effects, which I'll mention, that we're going to be using. And then Fateful Strike just increases crit damage by another 60%, but reduces the damage, or just general damage, by 20%. Now, all of our damage will be crits at some point during this build, so this actually doesn't have any problem for us at all. So we're going to use those 3. Now, the ones up here, I always use just Weapon Expert and Reroll Mastery, specifically because Reroll Mastery, because it helps us get the build we want. It gives us more rerolls. That's useful. And then Weapon Expert gives us the weapon skill, and we really do, in this particular case, the second weapon skill is really important, so we want to make sure we have that. Now, we do want something that's going to help us apply Doom. I don't feel that the Assassin has a really good way, has really good skills for this. So there's 2 that we're going to pick here, and it's only 2. We're going to pick Dark Swarm. Now, Dark Swarm applies Disoriented, which increases critical strike damage taken by 2% on enemies. Pretty good. That'll help us since we're going to be doing a lot of crit damage. And then Rays of Doom. Now, Rays of Doom is... I just like this type of skill because it really helps us apply Doom very easily to enemies around us. Now, I've tried some of the other skills in here, and I don't particularly like them. I think you could probably argue for Void Trap, because it does do good amount of Doom damage. It also applies weakness, which might be helpful if that's what your build is going for. And then Obscure Arrow applies Aptitude, but I found when I used this it didn't really help me that much. I didn't think that did anyway. So there's a couple other ones here that come from the Samurai that have Condemned, and honestly, you could probably come up with a pretty cool build with the Assassin using this Shadow Slice and Night Fang, and perhaps even Ruthlessness. But that's not this build. I think you could actually come up with something really cool with the Assassin based on those. But I'm not doing it this time. Maybe later. Let me know in the comments if you think I should do that. All right. So those are the runes we'll be running. Okay, so one last thing to look at here. Oops, wrong thing. Tab over, go to the skill list, right? And just to point out some of the skills we're looking for. So I mentioned Ambush earlier, right? How that's going to be important for us to do to Lords of the Void. Well, Smoke Bomb is kind of the general way to get around having to backstab enemies for your ambush. So anything inside of the Smoke Bomb radius is going to be considered like a backstab, basically. And it also gives, this is crazy kicker on it, it increases critical strike damage on enemies in that radius by 20% for 8 seconds, which is also kind of just a crazy amount to increase it by for one skill. So that's going to be really good. We're definitely wanting that. That's like necessary, I think, for the build. We're going to look for Shadow Bolt. Okay, Shadow Bolt gives us Aptitude, which Aptitude increases crit damage. That's great. We're going to look for the 2 skills that we had added on. And then you could go, you know, Shadow Spikes, Shadow Orb applies Disoriented. There's some other things you could do here. But that's pretty much what we're going to be looking for. Alright, so let's get into it. As always, we'll just go in this first area at max curse. And we will see how it goes. At first here, we're actually not going to be that powerful. We will need to get some of our kind of skills online before we can kind of really get into the swing of things. I mean, still, you can kind of see, like, we do, you know, these don't pose any threat, right? But really, need something a little extra before we really start feeling strong here. If you're unfamiliar with this Reaper guy, it's part of one of the curses that I've activated. And it's kind of annoying to deal with, but it is, to get max curse, you gotta have him on. Sometimes I disable him when I'm, like, testing things out, just so I don't have to worry about dodging his aura. Alright. Once this first, like, set of elites spawns, I can level up here. Let's do that now. Okay, so crit damage is very good. We'll just go ahead and grab that. And here we do want to kind of prioritize getting our skills. So we don't really want Void. Smoke Bomb is a must. That's awesome. Magnetic will be good. An extra dash will be great. Although, you could probably argue just to grab this Doom thing, but extra dash is really good. Ray of Doom is necessary. We'll do crit chance. That'll help us out here. And let's see, we have a damage modifier or multicast. Let's do damage modifier. Again, just reroll here. So we can take Shadow Orb, that's perfectly fine. Alright, so you'll see the Ray of Doom just circles around us, right? And you can kind of, like, there is a way of, like, moving around enemies to kind of maximize its utility. But you'll find that later on when we have, like, a lot of cast frequency and multicast with it, it's going to be just around you. So let me turn up the VFX so you can see it a little better. Yeah. There you go. Alright, let me level up here before we get into this. Take Magnetic. We'll do all attack supply Doom. I do think that's kind of necessary. Dark Swarm, perfect. Reroll. Okay, now we're getting into it. Damage or area of all of our skills. Area for Ray of Doom. More area. Let's see if we can find something better here. Probably all attack supply Doom. Alright. So we're doing okay. We're not, like, absolutely demolishing things yet. We will get there. This build's a little bit more of a slow, you know, lead up, but we also have to be careful because we do need to get close to enemies to really, like, get our stuff going. So you just want to be careful here, right? Early on. But there you go. I mean, not bad by any means. Alright. Grab that. Level up here. More Doom is fine. Cast frequency or Smoke Bomb is really good. Damage for most of our skills here, it's awesome. Damage for Reap. Okay, now damage for Reap, you really want to look out for that. That's the one that does damage based upon number of Doom stacks. So look out for that one. Reroll a little bit here. Area modifier. You'll notice, okay, one thing I should mention, I'm really bad about going for the assassin's like targets. I'll do it just after this, that way you can kind of see what I'm not doing, what I should be doing, but I'm really bad about going for those. I don't think it's even, it does help actually, but it's not necessary, I think. Okay, so we have a skill chain, take that. Increased doom damage is great, that's one thing you want to look out for. Multicast for those. So this is multicast for Smoke Bomb, Ray of Doom, and the Void. Not Void, but I forget what it's called, but that's helpful. Damage of all Doom, great. Multicast for Shadow Orb. It's not bad. Area modifier, it's also great. Okay. Yeah, so see how the Ray of Doom, and I'll turn the VFX off for it at some point, but like, it is all over the screen already. So that's going to really help us make sure that we have Doom on our targets. So that when we get close enough to reap them, right, they're going to take a lot of damage. One thing that I wouldn't do that's kind of weird about some of these builds, I don't think you should get too much cast frequency for reap. Because if you get too much cast frequency for that, you're not going to allow enemies to stack their Doom appropriately. So, like, I would get maybe 1 or 2 of these, like, cast frequencies for Reap, right? But I'm not going to get a whole lot because it'll kind of, I think it's kind of counters what we want to do. Doom damage, Shadow Stab, multicast, Doom damage. Yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you want to get that, like, but I think maybe you probably don't. Okay. Here we go. Round 2. Let's see if we've amped up a little bit. Oh. I got double hit by something there. My bad. There we go.
The Soulstone answers.
Okay. Let me go for one of these targets. I never do it. I really should pay attention to that. Alright, he's down here. Went away right away. And then you get, like, amped up from that. So, I mean, it can help, especially if you do it during, like, when the bosses are out. It's really good. Alright, let's kill some of these towers over here. They go down, like, right away. You can see that the little circle around us is from, you have, like, area from both your artifact and from your, primary skill. Okay. More Doom. Damage of Doom. Might as well just keep up with that. Grab that. Damage modifier. Cast frequency of the bomb is really good. Crit damage is also really good. Oh yeah, some speed, I will take that. Some movement speed. Area of Reap is great. Makes it easier for us to, like, walk around enemies without having to get too close and trigger their Doom stacks for damage. Yeah, I need to turn my VFX down. I keep getting hit because I can't see things, right? So, just turn my VFX down a little bit. It's easier to see things. If you're using a controller, it's down on the D-pad to do that. I do not know what it is with mouse and keyboard. Alright. Looking good. Got a couple more waves of bosses here. take down these towers. And then we have a target here. So I'll kill this target right as like these are spawning. Right there. And then I'll be buffed up. So yeah. Now we've amped up, so like it does. This build is a little like you kind of have to play carefully, but I think that kind of fits the assassin. Like you kind of have to, you know, work your way around enemies like so that you don't get hit, and then you're in the right spots. So okay, we have damage for those 3 skills. That is what we want right there. We do have that shadow bolt we could grab, but we'll just stick with what we got. Don't really care for getting these upgrades to his skill. You could get it. I just don't think it's, yeah, super necessary. All attacks apply Doom. Sure. You can get a little bit of defense. I mean, that's alright. Area for that. Damage buff. Area damage. Reroll a couple times here. Movement speed's good. Okay.
Oh, I think so.
Now, this Ray of Doom skill is from the Death Knight originally. I think you do have to play with... It may not be the Death Knight. It could be the Necromancer to, like, get access to it to put on other characters, but... It is, I think it's one of the better skills that you can use on, like, this build, this character. Alright, take him down. We're gonna go get healing over here, since I haven't been dodging very well this round. Go get some gemstones. Go. More healing. That was kind of the game to offer that. Yeah, just go down so fast. Wow. Yeah. It's because when the Reap crits, it just does so much damage. Okay, we'll do as usual. We'll do one of these boss rounds. See how that goes. Might be a little tough. We'll see. I might not make it through it. I'm gonna check, or I'm gonna find out, rather. At this point, you could consider getting something that, like, I think there's one that every time you do Doom, it triggers something else. Like, I can't remember if it's poison or bleed, but you could look out for something like that and then start to, like, kind of stack status effects. But you're pretty much, I mean, looking just for more Doom damage and more Reap damage. Or cast frequency, like, more ways to, like, trigger Doom on enemies, so... Yeah, because once the Reap hits, it just... Health bars just go down. Alright. Go. Level up here. Yeah, so this... When you apply Doom, you apply Burn. I mean, you might as well grab that. It's pretty good. Cast frequency of Dark Swarm. All attacks now burn. I mean, that's fine. I think we'll just get crit, though. Damage modifier for all of our skills. It's great. Reroll that. All attacks apply Doom. I don't think area of effect for those is that important. Area modifier for Reap is really good. Reroll that. Damage for the Ray of Doom. It's good. Okay, looking pretty good. Cast. Ooh, damage for Reap. Yeah, I'm gonna grab that. I don't think I need the cast frequency for Reap. I mean, Maybe I'll grab one more, right? Just for, like, make sure that I'm, like, triggering it often enough.
Ah, fancy mineral. Smells like kobolds.
The first time the assassin said that, I thought he said, like, cobalt. Because he said minerals. I was like, okay, yeah. But it's kobolds. Because the kobolds defend the mineral. Yeah. It's always tough at this stage, like, trying to sit in these areas. It does... I wouldn't recommend, you know, unless you're, like, very comfortable, like, with kind of dodging around with your character, and you have enough movement speed, like, I would not have sat in that area. Too risky. There's another mineral, yeah. Doing it to me again, okay. Alright. Cast frequency, ooh, more dashes. Don't mind if I do. Doom. Damage for those. Okay, I don't know how much damage those are doing, so let's take a look. Reap, Ray of Doom, Shadow Orbs. Shadow Orb is doing a lot, so I could get this damage modifier for it. All attacks burn. Might as well. Multicast, okay. Area modifier for Smoke Bomb. Armor. There we go.
Legendary. Oh, I think the subject is death. Listen be short. Soulstone is
Oof.
your death is also mine.
Almost died there.
The shadow sees you.
Wow, I just took them down and there's more.
Don't be shy. Through the darkness, we rise.
Nice. Yeah, so this is a build that's really interesting. Some builds, like, start out really strong, and you can, like, just tell that they're gonna be, like, if you get the right stuff going, you're gonna be fine. This build doesn't start out that strong, but it really scales very well. Alright. Almost there. See if I can make it. 10 more levels here, so... Grab that. Crit damage. More block. Damage for Ray of Doom. Armor. More health. Now I'm getting defense because I'm like... I don't want to die at the very end here.
Through the Dawnstone, we ascend.
Get this target up here. It's gonna amp me up. Yeah, look at that though. Like, it's just crazy damage right at this point. Awesome.
Silence as it should be.
There you go. We'll give this one a try. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's take a look at the damage overall here. Definitely it's going to be Reap, right? Reap with 1.1 billion. Just crazy. Ray of Doom, again, like, I think it's really critical here because it's not only giving us a lot of Doom stacks on enemies, it's also doing a good amount of damage. So, like, a lot of these other ones here that don't do a lot of damage, like Smoke Bomb. Like, Smoke Bomb is necessary because it gives us ambush, right? So, like, it lets the Reap actually trigger effectively. So even though it's not doing a lot of damage, it has a purpose, right? And same thing with, like, you know, Dark Swarm, or like the Shadow Orb gives Disoriented, which increases crit. So in the end, increasing damage of Reap. And then Dark Swarm, like, same thing. So a lot of those are utility based, right, helping the Reap do more damage. So even though it doesn't look like they're doing much, I think they are kind of necessary. Let's look at our Doom damage, the Fateful Strikes and Impending Doom. So these did, let's see, 401 million, right? And again, that actually did a lot, right? But, compared to the Reap damage, yeah, it's not much of anything. Well, there you go. The Doomsassin build. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, right, leave it in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, you want to see more build videos for Soulstorm survivors, feel free to give a like and please subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.